Right, let's see. Haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought I'd make a quick pit stop and see if I can get on here and have a little conversation. I don't know if I'll upload this afterwards, but we'll give it a minute or two here just to see who all can join in. Just a few minutes. I'm not going to be here long, so tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Oh, all right. Who do we got out there? We got one person watching. If you'll leave a comment, I will say hello to you. Just going to do a little gun chat here. Just kind of talk about my previous video. Try not to make this too long. Hey, what's up, Eric? Yeah, Eric. Side note, I'm into blades and throwing knives. I don't talk or get too involved in guns these days, even though I'm part of the 2A community. So welcome aboard. Um, we got a second person out there. I'll wait a minute or two here, get one or two more people involved. I'm gonna try to make this maybe a 10, 15-minute chat. Um, Hope y'all are doing good. I just wanted to kind of recap on my previous video because I know it's a touchy subject, and people of the gun community get real touchy when you talk about the Second Amendment. As a gun owner, as a law-abiding citizen, I support the Second Amendment. Hey, Phil, this won't be a long chat, so hopefully you can stick around for a little bit. But I kind of feel like I touched a nerve on a couple people that out there about the whole gun thing. And one of the things I'll say is that while the Second Amendment is across the board for the United States, it should be even, right? It should be equal, fair, etc. But we know the reality is the gun laws are not fair because the gun laws in Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Arizona, Texas, Utah, etc., are not the same like in California, New York, Chicago. So, with that said, you have to keep in mind that when laws are presented, unfortunately, they don't always apply to every state, every individual. And so, when I have an idea to just present saying, hey, it's a give and take, right? And some people are like, no, will not infringe. I will not. I live in New York. Laws are insane. They suck. Yep. And that's why people get into other protections. Um, but your way of living in whatever state you are in is not the way the rest of the country works. And I think this is the problem here is that we've gotten to the point of the Second Amendment applies to all. Everyone should have the right and liberty to defend themselves. And I agree. But I think we can also agree that not everyone should own a firearm. Not everyone should be near a firearm. Does that make them a total douchebag, bad person? No, they shouldn't be around it. I think we've all worked around that person or two that says, you really should not be doing this type of work. This is just not for you. If somebody has special needs, and there's nothing I'm saying bad about somebody with special needs or um, but would you want somebody with special needs behind the wheel of a vehicle? I don't want them next to me, especially if I know they can't comprehend the laws and the rules of the road. They're liable to kill someone, to hurt someone or themselves, or to damage property. Same concept with the gun. You should you should have the right or privilege to drive. And I know driving is a privilege. It's not under the Constitution, but we have to remember that it was a different time when the Constitution was made. Hey, Keith, I was just kind of recapping on earlier. I seem to touch a lot of nerves on my previous video. But I think we can all agree that not everyone should be a gun owner. Not everyone should be near firearms. And so the question is, how can we, as a gun community, come up with some measures, not change the Second Amendment? I'm not talking about that, but to say, let's keep the Second Amendment intact, but let's try to govern per state or across the board and say, what are some ideas, asking the gun community, what else can we do to improve who has a gun? It's not going to fix the problem. It's not going to, I mean, the guns are not going anywhere. But if I can feel comfortable selling a firearm, a private sale to Joe Blow down the street, and I'm able to go somewhere where it's not complicated and say, hey, let's meet up at this third party location. They're registered by the state. We pay $5-10. You run your background, not me, but they do. If they say, hey, he's good to go, then the private, I pay the third party person saying, hey, here's the fee, or the customer does, or the buyer does, and then I make the private sale transaction. I feel a lot comfortable selling a firearm to someone that I know, hey, they're legit under the law. Now, people are going to be assholes. They're going to be who they are. You can't change that, right? You can't change and say, you need to act the way I act. You need to be up to my caliber. I get that everyone's different, but I think we can all agree we want people that are law abiding citizens. We want people that know how to use firearms. And unfortunately, hey, New Texan, unfortunately, not everyone has that background. And I get that people have sons and grandsons and you want to pass that on. I get it, but there needs to be some measures to say, hey, look, if you have no training, you're a first time gun owner, you need to go through some classes. There's nothing wrong with that. Not all of us have a parent that passes on knowledge saying, hey, son, don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Don't point the barrel at something you're not willing to destroy. Basic concepts of firearm. I didn't get into firearms until like 37, 38 years old. I was a lot mature at that age versus a 21-year-old like these guys that recently shot up at the Garlic Onion Festival or whatever in California, El Paso shooter, the Dayton, Ohio shooter. So a lot of people got touchy with my comments, and I'm not saying that is the solution. I'm saying, are you willing to give a little in order to secure the Second Amendment? That's all I was saying. Something has to change, and the idea that a lot of the gun community people, they're their worst enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not the person you got to plead your case to. But the rights and privileges and the way we used to live back then, we don't live in that world anymore. But if we can come up with a, hey, we're going to give a little bit, but ask us what we think, politicians. We're going to give a little bit, but you don't touch the Second Amendment. You don't ban any more guns. That's what I was trying to say. And it's so hard to put all that in a bubble in like an 8-minute video. There's just no way to do that. All I'm saying, guys, is we have to wise up, because if we're going to pass on this battle and fight to the next generation, we better prepare those that next generation. Hey, I hear where you're coming from, but I, I hear you, Phil, and keep this in mind. This is the part when you take a step back as a gun owner myself, and I see that some, not everyone, but there's some guys that we know they're just hell bent on, you're not taking my guns until I'm dead. Guess what? You're not taking shit when you die. You're not going to take nothing. It's either going to be given off to one of your kids that will either continue that or sell that. Your spouse or loved one will sell it, or law enforcement's going to confiscate it. In order for your fight to continue, you have to be smart about it. And that's what I'm trying to tell people, is that a lot of people out there see us as quote unquote hard-headed, stubborn, ignorant rednecks. And not that I'm a redneck, but sometimes they get that vision of, oh, you just love your guns and you want to kill people. No, I don't think any of us in our circle think about, oh, today I'm gonna arm myself and I'm gonna go out and shoot somebody if they look at me wrong. Nobody in their right mind thinks like that I know of. We're all law-abiding citizens. We love the competition sport of shooting, or just like going shooting to the range or hunting, or we just have the idea, hey, I want to protect myself. I want to even the playing field. And I think when you can plead your case and make it to the opposite side, and I've had this conversation with them too, the reason why your ideas get shot down every time from the 2A community is because the way you approach them. You approach them with the mindset they're like, we just need to ban guns, we need to do it. No, that's not the solution. That is, hey, Eric, thanks. The party's been on the one side. Yes, I agree, guys. It's just, I'm not the enemy. So when I did that video earlier and I got some negative feedback, that's fine. We can agree to disagree, but I'm not the enemy. I'm just telling you my part. I'm taking a step back from the forest so I can see the trees and say, okay, here's the problem. These guys over here don't understand the gun community. The gun community doesn't want to hear shit from these guys because they come at them ignorant. I agree. I hear you guys. One day you're not going to be around for that fight. One day you're not going to have control of where your guns end up. But if I can contribute and say, hey, I helped curve the appeal a little bit to secure the Second Amendment, I think that should be the first goal. It's and then the fact, like 1776 said, you know, I blame everyone. I blame both sides. I blame the past and present administration office, both presidents, all presidents. Something has to change, guys. And I get you don't want to give up the guns. Each side is telling the story. Yes, I agree, New Texan. I agree. And it's just, it's not getting any better. And I think that this new generation, regardless if I'm talking about your kids or grandkids, I have kids, I have grandkids too. I'd like to see that passed on. And I think we each have the right to defend ourselves. I think we should each have, I don't think that everyone should be around a gun. I don't think everyone should own a gun or be near it because they may be unstable. They may not have some training or some basic knowledge of guns. Just keep throwing knives. Forget about the guns. Yeah, I I'm gonna do that after this video. I mean, I want to be part of the conversation, and I could just simply just keep my mouth shut, which is not gonna get any word out there, and just throw knives, right? Guys, it's bigger than that. And I wish I could preach to the 2A community. I just want to say, okay, guys, Mr. Tommy, I'm about to end this, but um, just think about your actions, think about your words, because this battle will not go to you with your grave. You'll be long gone, forgotten about, and it'll go on to the next generation. And you know, if tweaking, curving the idea of some rules and it protects your Second Amendment, I'm okay with that. But that's just my opinion. Read there have so many shootings in Chicago. Exactly, Chicago. I mean, it's just, if you go back and watch the beginning of my video, anyone that missed it, hear what I have to say at the beginning. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to throwing knives because that's what I'm good at. um, I support the Second Amendment, and I think everyone that legally does it, that is a good person, a good law-abiding citizen, that has the intention to protect their family, should be able to protect themselves, whether it be with a gun, a knife, something. But until the bad guys stop doing what they do, the good guys need to be able to protect themselves. Sorry, I haven't seen your video. Okay, no problem. All right, guys, I'm on lunch break. Have a good one. Adios, amigos. And I'm not against you. I'm your friend. Red out.